I think this is a screen that everyone's pretty much familiar with. You guys can go ahead and lower your hands. This is going to be our login page for Canopy. A number one question that we get is, hey, I forgot my password. What do I do? As you can see down here, the forgot password link is tactfully hidden, but still there. You can click on this to get a new password, or you can also reach out to us if you find that link does not work for you. This is going to be where you put your email address and password. I like to highlight this page whenever I do any kind of Canopy trading, because all of these pages all look the same when you're looking at Canopy and Data Now and any of our other apps that you have access to. We use the same username and password for everything that we do here at VenueNext. So the password and email address that I'm going to be using to access Canopy is the same password and email address that I use to access Data Now. So from here, you're going to go ahead and put in your credentials. Disregard the step that I am taking because I authenticate in with Google because of the fact that I work with VenueNext. So you will not be signing in with Google. If you're following along, go ahead and put in your email and password. If you're not following along, just kind of take that note as well. So once you are in Canopy, you're going to see your organization at the top of the page and your venue. For those of you that have access to more than one location, then you're going to see multiple options in the drop down here. However, if you do not have multiple options in the drop down, then you're going to just see your venue that's assigned to you. So I'm going to go ahead and select the arena organization. This is also something that we ask whenever a support ticket comes in. So if you ever hear us say, hey, what org are you with or what organization? That's going to be your property name or whatever organization you see in Canopy. The next thing is the venue. Some customers have more than one venue, like my college sites. My college sites have sometimes a stadium, a basketball stadium, a basketball arena, a baseball field, a soccer field. Some of you guys like a basic arena, like where you've got an NBA team or a stadium, you might just have one venue. So it is expected if you don't see anything populated here besides the location that you're at. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and keep my stadium the way it is. So going into Canopy, do I have any merchandise people on this call? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're merchandise before I move forward. Okay, cool. So normally I have a merchandise person or two. In this case, it looks like I do not. Do I have anybody that has interest in marketplace or loyalty? Is that like as far as why you're on the Canopy training, or raise your hand if you are on here for marketplace related or loyalty training? Okay, so I did see two people raise your hand. The focus of this Canopy training, just as a heads up, is going to be for more F&B building and merchandise building, so building locations and items, more so than marketplace. So if you did have a heavy marketplace interest, go ahead and shoot an email to me and we can definitely discuss a time to look at that further. But I always like to ask that question too, because sometimes some marketplace people will join as well. Okay, so in the F&B tab, you will see a lot of options. For those of you that have used Canopy a few times already, you'll also see some big important changes. First and foremost being the categories are showing on the menu. Okay, so our recent Canopy update exposed reporting categories and display categories. So for those of you that have been staring at Canopy for some time, you're noticing something's a little bit different. We've added these category options for you in the menu dropdown. The other thing is we removed the word F&B from global items and locations. So I want to call that out ahead of time, and also orders as well, because those are, even though they're minor changes, they are super significant, given that they are visually different. So let's just say that I have a new subcontractor and I need to onboard them. They're a taco shop that the locals love. They're going to take over one of my portable carts. The first step with any kind of new location or new revenue center is adding it to Canopy and location management. So after this call, you'll also get an article that shows it's called Canopy Checklist. And it'll show you what you need to do to successfully build something end to end. That is what I'm going to focus this training on. So step 1, add the location. I do see that there's a hand raised. Go ahead and post your question in the chat and I'll go ahead and answer that for you. So in location management, you are going to add in that new stand. So my taco shop, my new portable, step 1, location management. Adding it in. So it's going to take a second to load. When you're in location management, you will see all of the locations that exist, food and beverage and merchandise included. So if you need to update an existing stand for some reason, you could go ahead and click on that stand name. You could change the stand name here. Same thing with business end time or time zone. So that's how you're going to edit an existing stand. In this example, we're building a brand new stand. So the first step is going to add new location. Once we're in add new location, we're going to go ahead and fill out some details in the location settings section. First and foremost, name. A common thing that I see people do is they name the stand based off of the internal name. So if your stand is called T109 and everybody internally knows it as T109, do not put it in this section. There is a section for those internal names. This will not be it. The name that you want to put in this field is the name that's plastered on the front of that stand. So if T109 is my taco shop subcontractor, then you're going to want to name it taco shop. This is going to be the most fan-friendly way to create a stand for your customers, because you don't want to A, lead them in the wrong direction, and also B, I hate to say it, but customers aren't going to be as concerned if they're a sub. So if it's T109 sub, they're more concerned with, how do I get tacos from the taco shop? So this is where the fan-friendly name goes. Description. As you can see, there's not an asterisk here. You can leave this blank. There is a way to go back in and update description. You do not necessarily have to have a description either to build a stand or even have a stand live in Canopy. It's just an added amenity for, let's just say, so that way you guys can, if it's the local taco shop and you want to put like a cool little, 2-liner about where they're from or what they do, you can do that. Product type's going to be food. If you're merchandise, you're going to go ahead and select merchandise. Local time. This is going to be the local time of the venue itself. So if I am centrally based and I am building a location on the East Coast, I'm going to want to select East Coast. It's not going to populate based off of my time zone. So keep that in mind while you're in here. It's not based off of your time zone. Okay. Business end time. If you leave this blank, it will auto-populate to 4 a.m. We recommend 3 a.m. as a business end time. The business end time is specifically for batching. So if you're using full service POS, or if I've got anybody from Levy Suites, I know Levy Home Office basically handles this part, but that's going to be the batch time that we would put in. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, all of your transactions will batch. Another reason that you would have this business end time is for Expedite. So if you're using Expedite for fulfillment, Expedite is our app that gives you the ability to have orders come to an iPad or print to a stand printer, and then gives you the ability to fulfill those orders, contact the customer, and get the customer their goods. So maybe it's not really for like a belly up situation. You've got, or you have pass-throughs, but you're doing more customized food. Oh, I do see I have a question. Let me look at that really quick. I do have a great question. If you do not use numbering to name locations, do they sort alphabetically in app view? So if I've got two named pizza stands on opposite sides of the building, will they appear next to each other on the app view? The answer is yes, we do everything alphabetically or numerically. So what I would recommend is either doing it in numerical order. So if you wanted them to be separate from each other, you could do that. You could also in the description indicate where they are located. That's what a lot of our customers will do. Or you could number it based off of where they're at in the stadium. It's up to you guys, but yes, it is alphabetical or numerical depending on how you guys format your stands. Okay. Initial location menus. So as you guys can see, there are a lot of options here. In the beginning, when VenueNext first came about, we did a lot of customized apps. We did a lot of customized service types. As we continue to grow, we decided that we're going to be a more, one size fits all, but not really. Most of the options that you see here in the middle that I did not select are literally the same thing with a different name. So if you have interest in table delivery, maybe you guys are a premium restaurant and you want to deliver to tables. The difference between this and this is literally the internal name. The customer would not even have seen table delivery on their VenueNext website or in their app. They would have just seen delivery. It's the same exact functionality, same configuration, same everything. The literal only difference is the name that you see in Canopy, which is why I did not select it. As we continue our transition to Canopy 2.0, so basically right now we're on Canopy 1.0. We are in the process of really streamlining how everything is configured, how everything lays out. We've heard a lot of great feedback from all of our customers about, the wins and misses with Canopy. Some things that we could probably do without, some things that we could do with. So we're in the process of taking that wish list. And I just want to be clear, not everything that's been discussed probably has made that wish list, but the big high priority topics. And we're in the process of working on Canopy 2.0. Our next phase is going to be, cleaning up Canopy 1.0 and even, cleaning it or making it cleaner for Canopy 2.0. So if you have questions about any of these functionalities, you can feel free to reach out to the help desk and we'll tell you the equivalent. However, you're going to want to do Express or in-seat or any of these options I have checked below. And I'm going to go ahead and go through and describe each one. The one thing I do want to call attention to is Delivery Find Me is not something that we support. So if you do have questions about that specifically, that is a retired service type that we never fully went forward with. I mean, imagine being in a stadium and you have a food runner chasing you with your beer for Delivery Find Me. That would be, well, first a waste of labor, but also not fun. Okay, so Express Pickup. Express Pickup is going to be our most common service type that a lot of our customers use. We also call it concessions. This is going to be when a customer places an order from their mobile device. Maybe they scan a QR code that brings them to a menu, or they're in your customer app where you can select your location from a list of locations. I place my order, I put my name on the order, I put my phone number, and then I get a text message that says my order's ready if I'm using Expedite. Or I go up to the stand, I show my order number, and I get my order. This is our original concept that we were using with VenueNext. Still, like I said, fairly popular. just our basic mobile ordering. In-seat delivery, pretty self-explanatory here. Customer places order. Food runner brings order to customer table, or not table, I'm sorry. Well, table 2 if you want to implement it in a restaurant, or to the customer seat. We use a seat manifest that is provided by the customer to have the fan pick their seat from a seat picker, which is how the runners are able to get everything. The next one that I have selected is Quick Pay. Quick Pay is extremely popular with hawkers. So for those of you guys that have hawkers, obviously in the past, most hawker situations are where the hawker's walking around. They mostly, only select, or I'm sorry, they only take cash. This is an option for those of you that are using mobile ordering to, hey, you know what, let's put a QR code with the hawker. Then the customer can scan the QR code, place their order, and retrieve their goods if they don't have cash, especially, days like today, especially post-COVID. Cash became, lesser and lesser at some of these stadiums. Obviously, it's not been fully retired from most of the organizations, but it just gives you a true contactless way of placing an order with a hawker who's walking around. Quick pay menus can also only be accessed through a deep link. A deep link would just be that we give you a specific URL that points you to it. So a fan that's perusing your actual F&B menu on your app will not see the hawker menu. So it's almost like a secret menu in itself, but the functionality is essentially for a customer to place their own order in a hawking situation or a situation that's a little bit more cut and dry. Kiosk. I'm sure some of you guys have probably been to the airport lately, or maybe Chili's. I think Applebee's does it too. You've got the little kiosk where you can place your order at your table, or for example, I was at the airport and I stopped at McDonald's and they had kiosks up where I could place my order at the kiosk, and then they would call my order number and I would go pick up my order when it was my turn. That's going to be the same kind of concept that we have with our kiosks. So if you've got a bunch of stands side by side and you want to offer all of those stand options for somebody. So me, I have kids. Sometimes my son wants a hot dog and my daughter wants pizza. I don't want to stand in line for the hot dog and the pizza in 2 different lines. This gives you the ability to have a kiosk somewhere, whether it's, stationed between the stands or near the stands. And I, as a parent, or as a fan, I should say, can place the order for all of the concepts that I would like to order from in just one single location, and then go pick it up based off of, my order number and my receipt. All right, POS. So POS, that's going to be our basic POS cashier, belly up, or even fulfillment service. This will also be what is used for full service POS. Sorry about that. So if you are using us as a POS, raise your hand if you use us for point of sale. How many of you on the call use VenueNext as your point of sale provider, whether it's for full service POS or quick service POS? Okay, cool, perfect. Go ahead and lower your hands. So when you guys are building a POS menu for your stands, this is going to be the option that you choose. You can also choose more than one. So if I was going to do POS and express pickup, I could easily just check the 2 boxes for this and build out my items and my menus. I'll leave this back up for just another minute while I finish explaining. The last thing that I'm going to show you is self-checkout. Pre-order is something that our Levy Suites customers use for event catering POS. So that is something we support, but it's not something that most of our general Canopy users do use. I do know I normally get questions about this on different webinars. So yes, it is something we support. It's just done a little bit different. So if you've got questions on pre-order functionality, shoot us a note and we'll point you in the right direction. But lastly, self-checkout. So self-checkout is something that we came out with in 2021. It gives the customer the ability to place an order by using the scanner in their wallet. So say that you've got a grab and go location. And you, well, so with the grab and go location, I, as a fan, can scan a QR code, open up my wallet scanner, and I could go and I could grab my water bottle and I could scan the barcode and add it to my cart. I could grab a bag of M&Ms, I could scan the barcode and put it in my cart. And then I would check out once I'm done. Operationally, obviously, this is at your discretion, but I would either show the attendant my receipt, or the attendant might take a couple additional steps depending on, the venue and what you guys want to do. But the general gist of it is I scan the barcodes of the items, I add it to my cart, I check it out, and then I go and move on. So hence self-checkout. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave POS and POS and Express checked, because those are the two menu types that we're going to build today. Location identification, there's a lot of information here. For those of you guys that are building a new location, we use merchant token here for shift 4 payments. So when you're building a new location specifically, we advise that you email us at help@VenueNext.com. You can even call into the helpline if that's easier for you too, whatever is more comfortable. But let us configure your payments. As we move into Canopy 2.0, this process will be a little bit more simpler. But because of how the token is formatted, let us set that up for you. Let us make sure that things are good. So that way, A, you guys don't have to worry about it, and B, it's pointing to the correct mid. The last thing we want is for you to copy and paste the token from a concessions menu when it's actually a premium location, or vice versa. If you've got questions on payment configuration for shift 4, send us a note to help@VenueNext.com. If you're a Freedom Pay POS customer, this is not where you're going to be configuring your Freedom Pay store ID or terminal ID. This is going to be where we set up your your mobile ordering payments though. So once again, send us a note and we'll get that configured. Or if you want further clarification, let me know. Another thing I'm going to point out, but we're not really going to go too in depth on this call, is filter data. We now have the ability for you to filter based on cuisine or location. If you've got interest in that, shoot us a note and I'll get that article over to you as well. We could also demo it offline. It's just an additional few minutes, and I want to make sure that we dedicate the time to, the basic overview Canopy. So now that we've put in our name of our revenue center, we've selected the product type, and we've put our business end time, selected our menu and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and create my location. Once my location is created, I'm going to go ahead and go to step 2. So in F&B, we've already done step 1, which is create the location. Step 2 is going and fine tuning my menu items. So in global items, I'm going to go ahead and fine tune everything that I have. The first thing that I want to point out is how to add existing items to new menus. So say that my taco shop is still going to sell the same subcontractor bottle bev that I'm selling everywhere else in the stadium. Obviously, you don't want to have 15 bottle bev items if A, they're not different price points, and B, if they're the same chargeable item, if your concessions are the same item that you're selling across premium. So to add an existing item to an existing revenue is to select the item name. Sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so you're going to select the item. And then you're going to check the box of the stand that you want to add it to. So as you can see, there's a lot of stand options here. There's a lot of boxes to check as well. So when you're going through the stand, you're going to want to check the box of the stand that you want the item to be added to. So as you can see, there's our taco shop. I'm going to go ahead and check the box for express pickup. and for POS because I want it to show on that menu. Once I've checked that box, I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Once I've submitted, then I am going to get the success confirmation that it was added. That step in itself probably took about, let's say 20 seconds. The quickest way to mass add items that are existing is to go down the line. So let's look at our chicken tenders and our club hot dog. So if I right click and open it in a new tab, this is going to be the quickest way to add items to or existing items to a new stand. So if you notice, I had more tabs populated at the top. If I click the tab and I scroll down to my taco shop and check my boxes, I'm going to hit submit. I'm going to do the same thing again. Notice that I just added 3 items in the same amount of time that it took me to add 1. I've gone ahead and saved my changes, and I've already added those 3 items. Now, we've added those new items, but I'm sorry, existing items, but how do we add a new item? To add a new item to Canopy, in the global items section, the next step is going to be create items. Create items is going to be where you add your modifiers and also where you add your parent items or your key item. So obviously we're opening a taco shop. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and build out 2 soft tacos. I'm going to build out an item that requires a modifier so you guys can see what this looks like. So you want to name it first and foremost the fan facing name. So I know some of you guys use something called like a fixie ID, or you have an internal reporting name. That name is not going to be what you want to put here. You're going to want to put the fan facing name. So when the fan is looking at your menu, they see what the item is. They don't want to see that it's a 3-to-1 hot dog all beef. I've seen that happen. I just want to call attention. Hey, this is going to be the required name. And then the second one is going to be the price point. This is pre-tax. So for those of you that are doing add-on tax, this is your pre-tax amount. Please do not build the item with the tax rate built in. You just need to do the pre-tax amount. So if I'm doing $12 plus tax, I'm building this for $12. If you're tax inclusive, you're going to be building this with your inclusive tax factored. So if this is $12 all inclusive, so my tax has been built into the price point, then I'm building this as $12. Second is SKU. Raise your hand if you guys do like pricing levels. So you've got more than one price for maybe it's a concert and a game day event or a family event. So there's potentially 3 different price points that you would sell an item for. Okay, go ahead and lower your hands. So if you're going to be leveraging pricing levels, which is something that is coming relatively soon, for those of you that's been on a call with me, we should be anticipating rolling that out in the next few weeks. We're finishing up some piloting, but if you are planning on using pricing level, just some forward thinking here, you want to make sure you do not have duplicate SKUs. Duplicate SKUs across the board are not something that you guys want anyways. So I always advise against creating duplicate SKUs. We have ways that you can check your SKUs in Data Now. So if you ever needed to do like a massive item export, you can pull that in Data Now in our item config tab. And I will send over documentation that surrounds what that is and where that is for those of you that have interest. But the SKU itself needs to be unique. How you create the SKU is up to you. However, I want to advise against doing things like this, where you're just banging on your keyboard and calling it a SKU, or things like where you're just running your finger across the numbers. Make sure it's something that makes sense to you. That's going to be the easiest route for you to categorize your items and also help build your items, especially if you're doing a mass build. If any of you guys are working on a site survey with us or have just finished up a site survey, try to use some kind of SKU scheme If you need examples, I will send our operational best practices. This does not mean this is our requirements. This is just a suggestion, especially for those of you that might be starting over and needing to create your own SKUs. This is just what we've seen great success with customers using. But like I said, I highly advise against just kind of putting in a number. I understand like operations, you have 100 million different things you have to deal with. Maybe you've got to worry about staffing in a stand and chef just threw these new items on you, or you need to make a bunch of updates. And the last thing that you want to deal with is finding a SKU that A, isn't in use, and B, matches with what you're doing. But I highly advise taking that extra minute before you create it, because I know how simple it could be just to type something in and get it built. But for convenience purposes, you will regret that moving into the future when you're running historical reports or trying to find something. So I'm going to go ahead and build a unique SKU based off of a SKU scheme that I've been using in this example site. Like I said, you want it to be unique. Special type, go ahead and bypass this. If you've got questions on any of these options, shoot us an email at help@VenueNext.com. Most of these options have been retired or since improved. For example, discounts. We have our own discounts and promo section. So that in itself will be an additional training, but you don't have to build it now on the item level like you used to. Same thing with tips. If you want to enable tipping, there's a whole different process than what it used to be. So for right now, bypass it, pretend it's not there. Eventually it will be retired, like a lot of other things that have been retired in Canopy. And if you've got questions, shoot us a note. Location. So we obviously learned how to mass add or add items that are existing to new locations. This is adding a new item to a new location. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select my taco shop. Before I show you the next step, I want to show you what happens when you select a location, but you do not select a menu. So notice this populated after I chose my location, and there's the boxes here. If I check a box, it's adding the item to the location, but look what happens when I don't do it. If you ever run into this error while you're building items, 9 times, I would say honestly, 10 times out of 10, you did not check the box for the menu. The best part about Canopy is that this is a website. I don't have to refresh my page and put everything back in. All I do is I hit my back button. Once I hit my back button, everything that I've put in is there, and I check my boxes and I move on. So I've created my 2 soft tacos. With 2 soft tacos comes choices: chicken, beef, veggie, whichever taco options you have. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and put my modifier, chicken or beef. So I'm going to do chicken. This is going to be considered a modifier. So if you have an item like our 2 soft tacos, the chicken is going to be the option that you can choose from, or the beef. Say though that you want to do an upcharge. So maybe I'm going to do chicken and beef is free, but steak as an additional $1. With the chicken item that I'm building, I'm going to put 0 because the chicken is already built into the cost of the 2 tacos. So I'm not upcharging for it. Same thing if you're building a souvenir soda. If you're going to prompt the customer to pick the flavors, you're not going to upcharge for well, I mean, you can if you want to, but you're not going to upcharge a customer for the flavor of a beverage because it's built into the cost of the item. So in this case, my chicken and my beef that I'm building are going to be built into the cost of the item. So I'm going to go ahead and build out my SKU. I'm going to add it to my taco shop. I'm going to do the same steps for my beef taco. So I'm going to do ground beef. Once again, we're going to say it was built into the cost of the item. We don't have to worry about it. Cost of goods are looking nice. So taco shop, check in my boxes. But now I want to have a steak option. And my steak option obviously is going to cost me way more money than ground beef or chicken. So I want to upcharge. I know I said $1. We're going to upcharge $2 because let's just do it. So if I want steak tacos, it's going to be an additional $2. So if my base price is $12, I'm going to add $2 to make the tacos $14. I'm going to go ahead and build in my unique SKU. I'm going to select my menu and I'm going to check my boxes. This page is going to infinitely refresh until I am done. So if you are building out brand new menus, maybe Chef just approved all your menus and you're about to go live for the season, you've got 100 menu items to add, it's going to auto refresh until you are done. So now that I've added my items, to recap, we've built our location. We've added items to our menu, both old and new. My next step is going and fine tuning my items. So in global items, I can either search by SKU or by name. So if I did 9100, I'm going to find all of my modifiers that I just made. If I do 1001, I'm going to have a lot of items populate. Yeah. So I can also search by name. So I'm going to type in taco. I could also do 2 soft tacos if I wanted to, but you can see the gist of it, my items there. So I want to add an image to my tacos. So to add an image, well, first and foremost, we have image requirements here at VenueNext. So if you are going to be adding in images, we recommend the image is 740 by 492. The reason why we recommend this image size is because that's going to be what looks the best on your VenueNext website. So when you guys are doing your images, keep that in mind. Don't just go on Google and slap an image in because it's the first thing that you found. You want to make sure it's scaled properly. Now, we are going to show you guys the proper sizes and everything in an article that you will get delivered to you. So don't feel like you have to retain it, but I do want to put that disclaimer in. However you save that image is going to be how the image looks on ordernext.com. So going back to my image, I'm going to go ahead and select the icon. There's normally a photo icon here. We're working through a couple enhancements on, so this is our training site. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on it. We're going to choose our menu list file and our detail file. These are the 2 images that make everything show. List file shows everything on Canopy. Detail file shows everything on VenueNext. So I'm going to search taco. Found my taco images. I'm going to add my tacos. And I'm going to upload these 2 images. So upload files. And these are PNG. Even though you see WebP quality, please don't upload WebP. You're not going to see it right away, but if I refresh my page and I type in taco, I'll see my image for my 2 soft tacos. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is how to update the description. So here, the little pen and pencil. If I spell something wrong, or maybe I want to rebrand the name of my item, I could put that in the display name. For description, I'm going to say 2 soft tacos with your choice of chicken, ground beef, or steak. If you've got a longer description, you can go ahead and put that in there. So maybe this is the first blurb that you want to show and you want to go further in detail, you can do that as well. If you notice when I click on it, it disappears. It does not mean it's deleted. To delete something, you're going to have to start typing again, and then you would hit update to save. You can always clear out of this by hitting the X. So we updated pricing. So way back when, pricing used to be locked in. Now you can actually do a global price. So obviously we've all seen how supply chains have been doing. I'm sure you guys have probably had to fluctuate between various different products. Maybe you started the season with an all beef 6-to-1 and you ended the season with an all beef 8-to-1. Obviously, with that comes price changes, and maybe your client's okay with you updating the price. Maybe they're not. For some reason, if you need to update the price globally, maybe my tacos actually went up in cost, therefore I need to up my cost that I'm charging my customer. I can update it here. All I would do is hit update to save. You could also hit update down here. This will reflect across all of the menus that the soft tacos live in. If my tacos were actually me building a beer, so I'm going to type in beer. So say that I was selling Stella or maybe just a generic draft beer. Notice the beer stein here for 21 plus, but if you remember, my soft tacos just had a box. This is going to be what prompts you to verify your age for alcohol service. Obviously, alcohol service policy is a big topic in every venue, or, you know, depending on where you're at. Maybe it's a concert venue, maybe it's a stadium, maybe you're at a zoo. The last thing that you want to do is go and overserve somebody. Obviously, I also want to put in a disclaimer. Checking the box does not replace the cashier or whomever is serving the individual from IDing. It is just an added level of security and an added step to verify a customer is confirming their age. It does not replace the steps that the operator needs to take either. So if I were to actually go place an order right now, and of course Shake Shack doesn't have beer. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm going in and I want to order a Coors Light. Notice the messaging must be 21 plus with valid ID to order alcohol. I have to confirm it before I can add it to my cart. You can update the number of beverages per person. In this case, it's per order. However, depending on who you're with, I would recommend getting clearance depending on, you know, if you're coming from a big corporate company, maybe out of Chicago or something, you might want to get clearance to make sure you can update that alcohol service number of beverages per order before doing so. If you're an independent concert venue and you want them to be able to purchase 6 beverages, you can update that. But I also want to make sure that you guys know, even though you can update it, you want to verify that that's also approved, because I've seen that happen. I do see something in my chat. There is not an integration coming currently, to my knowledge, and I'm going to reiterate my knowledge, that we're going to have somebody be able to scan an state ID to verify age. I can pose that question to our product team. I know I do have some individuals from the from the sales team that are on. So if you guys happen to know that answer, go ahead and post that in the chat. But my understanding is there is not something, I have not heard discussion of it, but it does not mean that's not something that I haven't been privy to either. But if I try to add more than one beer to my cart, I'm cut off, can't do it. So if I add it to my cart, maybe I want to try to get some seltzer. I have to, it's not going to let me, even if I add it to my cart and go to checkout, I'm not allowed to order it because I'm over my alcohol service. So that's what that 21 plus is. The other box that I'm going to show you is discountable. So discountable is going to be how you flag an item that's eligible to be discounted on a discount or promotion. So if you go in, you build a discount and promotion, maybe it's 10% off for season ticket holders, and you find it's not working, it's because the box is not checked. This is just an added level of security, we'll say. So that way the items that you are going to discount are discounted. The items that you might not want to discount, maybe you guys don't want to discount alcohol. So at no point at your venue will you ever discount alcohol. You would then not check the boxes of all the alcoholic beverages. So if for some reason somebody maybe accidentally added in an alcoholic beverage to a discount, or there was some kind of misconfiguration, you don't have to worry about everybody getting 15% off of liquor. I do see another question. Okay, so for those of you that had interest in the question that was just asked about scanning, integration about scanning, our sales manager, Michael, just answered it, and I'm just going to read it really fast. It's not currently on our roadmap, but we will share the feedback with our product team. So if anybody else was thinking the same thing, reach out to your account manager and let them know you had interest too, so that way they can add you as an example. Okay, so I don't want my soft tacos to be discountable because they're a subcontractor, and my subcontractor did not sign up for discounts. They just signed up to sell tacos. So not doing it. Maybe I had like an internal hot dog that I wanted to do promotions for, so then I would check that box. Items that are eligible for a discount will have that check mark. Once again, there's that special type again, coming back to haunt us. Disregard it. If you got questions, send us a note and we will talk through other options or the options that you need. Tax rate. Do I have anybody on this call that has more than one tax rate? So an example would be that you tax on food and beer, and your beer tax rate is different than your food tax rate. So maybe you tax 10% for alcohol and 6% for food. Do I have any multi-tax customers? Awesome. This is going to be your favorite section. Maybe. So tax rate, we do everything in decimal format. So if your tax rate on food is 6%, you're going to do 0.06. And then say that instead of this being street tacos, this is beer and my beer is 10%, then I would put in 0.1. So for multi-tax customers, you are doing the tax rate on items. Do I have any single tax customers? Raise your hand if you're single tax. One flat tax rate for everything, whether it's 7%, 8%. Okay. Single tax customers. Like I said, single tax. Pretend this does not exist. This is not where you're going to do any configuration. So you don't have more than one tax. Probably won't have one in the future. Maybe you will, who knows? Disregard the tax rate section completely. You do not need to put your tax rate on the item unless you're doing a multi-tax situation, because obviously you need to call attention to what the tax rate needs to be for what item. So you will go ahead and bypass this. For single tax. Multi-tax, this is your world. Okay. Inventory. Available, green means go. I'm putting Paw Patrol here. This means this is available for sale. Low on inventory. Maybe my subcontractor radios in and says, hey, I have enough to fill the last 3 orders that are in my queue. After that, I'm 86 soft tacos. I don't anticipate having more. It's the end of 3rd quarter. So can we just turn it off on my menu? If I move an item to low on inventory, it will turn off on my menu. Then my subcontractor can go ahead and fulfill the 3 tacos that he has in his expedite queue, or, on his lineup, however he's managing his operation there. And then after that, he will not be able to sell more, because then customers will not know that soft tacos are there or an option. It just temporarily removes it from the menu. Now say that your subcontractor calls you and they're in a panic. They have 50 orders of soft tacos, and their intern just knocked all of the ground beef and the chicken and the steak all over the floor. Something happened. It's just not good. They have no way of getting more meat for soft tacos. They don't know what to do about these 50 orders because they can't fulfill them, and they need somebody to come up there to help refund customers or void. For these situations, unavailable or red exists. Unavailable can help you void the soft taco item off of an order. So maybe I had soft tacos, quesadillas, and like a drink. And they could give me my quesadilla and my drink. They just can't give me my soft tacos. When you move an item to unavailable, the open, I'm going to reiterate, open, not your closed orders, your open orders. So those 50 orders that are waiting for them to make those tacos that they can't make, the tacos will be voided off of that order. So that way, you don't have to touch 50 orders. I mean, from a customer service perspective, there's probably needs to be some conversation. So this is not a easy way out from this kind of situation. But it helps save the time, and it also removes it from the menu for future ads. I have seen this work in a positive way, and I've also seen this work in a negative way. So another positive, for some reason, your stand goes down, maybe the power goes out, and you can't fulfill 100 orders. Or I had a scenario, I'm not going to tell you what venue it was, the CO2 went out, and we couldn't do draft beer, we couldn't do fountain soda, it was canned bev or bottled bev, and I mean, you got a arena full of thousands of people. How do you, like, with a footprint that big and mobile ordering that big, like, how do you even wrap your head around clearing out all of those orders? This was super handy for that reason. I've also seen managers give their supervisor access to Canopy and says, "Oh, turn this off, hurry." And they move it to unavailable and it voids the item off the order, but the order's already been run out. When I was an in-seat manager, I had this happen. End of third quarter, maybe it's beginning of third quarter. It's been a long time since I've worked in basketball. Alcohol cuts off at the end of the third quarter. So if the alcohol is not in the stadium at that point, so if my runners are not on the floor ringing it to the customer and they're in the VOM, they can't run it out, you have to void it. Well, somebody moved Bud Light to unavailable while all of my trays were out there serving customers. So that is another negative impact that could happen from this. But that is also why we highlight the importance of this. So first and foremost, please don't ever give anybody your credentials to Canopy. We have the ability to make as many, well, depending on where you're at, there's the ability to make the credentials that you need. But two, make sure whoever it is making the decisions, unavailable is not just it's stressed to the supervisor that has access. Hey, it's an end all be all decision. So this person needs to speak for it. Okay, I do see some questions in the chat. For a tax rate, the tax rate on items, it does, if you have one single tax rate, yes, it does override your tax depending on how it's set up. It also will not apply tax if it's not properly configured. So if you put the tax rate on the item and you go to test and you realize, oh, I'm not seeing my tax, there's a configuration issue. There's documentation that will come out after this training surrounding tax. So that way you can see the case by case basis of how you should use it. Just to answer a tax question there. Okay. All right. So, and I'm going to talk about the tax boxes in a second too, because I did see a tax box ticket just come in. So the next thing that we're going to do is add the category. The cool new feature that we have with Canopy is adding the categories to it. So you could either go and click on none, like we're all used to, or you could come over here and select your reporting category and your display categories. Both options take you to the same place. So if I wanted to do my display category and I click on it, it's going to bring me to my display category options. I'm going to hit my back button because I want to go through the hierarchy of categories. So when I click on none for category, this is going to show you my category page here. A recent release renamed our beloved menu categories and item categories to reporting category and display category, which is what they truly were. Reporting categories are going to be how you can categorize your item with the proper group. So your controller wants to know your true food cost, food sales, and all of that information. This is going to be how you assign an item to a reporting category. So obviously my tacos are food. So I'm going to check my taco. I'm going to check my food box for my tacos. Display. Think about when you go to a restaurant. You look at the menu, it's broken out by appetizers, and there's salads, and there's entrees, and there's desserts. It, to a customer or let's think about fans, to anybody looking at that, it makes sense visually. So you're able to figure out, okay, well, I want a salad, so I'm gonna look in the salad sections. Okay, I just want an appetizer for the table. I'm gonna look at the appetizer section. They get the same concept, only for your display categories. So obviously it's not really appealing to a fan, or I guess really it could be appealing to a fan depending on your property, to have everything just boom, food, boom, beer, boom, and a beverage. Kind of just sits there. So maybe you want to separate it out by fan favorites and desserts and sides and snacks, depending on where you're at. That's what the display category section is. So there's a lot of options here. So maybe I want my tacos to be under a completely different category that doesn't even exist here. I can update that by clicking on Manage Display Categories. Before I do that, I'm going to hit Save really fast because I added in a category. So in my display category, I'm going to do Manage Display Category. I want to call attention, and you can also do it here too. This is a literal copy paste of what you would see for reporting category. So look what happens when I click on reporting category. Same look, different names, obviously, different information, same look, same steps, same everything, different purpose. So display category. I want this to be a new category and I'm going to call it tacos. So I created my tacos category. I could search for it. There's a lot. But I want my tacos to show in a taco category. So I'm going to select tacos. I'm going to put in too soft. You could also put in the SKU. The cool thing about this section is you can bulk add. So say that you just added 50 items, or maybe this taco shop has 20 items that you need to add. I could easily go in and I could, let's just put in the first numbers of the SKU. And this is where that SKU practice comes into play, where I said, hey, think of a SKU scheme of some sort. If all of my entrees started with 1001, when I search for 1001, I'm finding all of my entrees. And I can go ahead and I can add all of my entrees in one swoop. Obviously, these are not my entrees. I did not build these items, so I'm not going to add them. But you're able to see that. And I know some of you guys are looking at my modifiers like, okay, is she going to add it to this section? The answer is no. Display categories are only for parent items. So if I'm prompting my customer to choose between chicken, ground beef, or steak, I do not want my display category to be here because otherwise this will show on the VenueNext menu as its own independent item. That is not what we want it to happen. This is going to be something that they're choosing based off of the selection of their parent, which is in this case, the soft tacos. So I'm going to hit my back button. I'm going to hit it one more time. Okay, I lied twice. Okay, so when you assign, so I got my two soft tacos, I've assigned the reporting category, I built my new category for tacos. Now I want my modifiers. The next step is adding that modifier category. So I'm going to go to Manage Modifiers. When I'm in Manage Modifiers, I'm going to go ahead and add my new category because I don't see anything for taco toppings, or I guess taco meat. When you add your new category, you're going to have a category name and a Canopy display name. I'm going to go ahead and just say, I'll call it protein. Imagine if, and I'm going to use a different example than what we're doing. So you guys you sell ice cream, you sell chicken tenders and a bunch of other stuff. Imagine if your modifier category said flavor. So you either had to pick a flavor of ice cream, flavor of barbecue sauce, a flavor of soda. The category name this is what prompts the customer. So the customer is choosing their protein. You could say choose protein. You could say choose your meat, choose your taco, whatever. But if you had 3 different choose your proteins that were applied for 3 different items, the only way to identify it is going to be based off of the Canopy display name. This is going to be for you because the last thing that you want to do is accidentally assign barbecue sauce flavors or soda flavors to an ice cream, which I've seen happen. So the Canopy display name, this is going to be what it's for. So in this case, I'm going to do 2 soft tacos. I'm typing in sub because that's just what I would do if I were in operations. This is at your discretion. Use your best judgment or whatever internal systems you have in place. This is not VenueNext saying, oh, this is what I need to do. I recommend doing this because when you hit create, it creates the category. So similar to adding the items for my display category, if I click on it, I'm going to go to manage items and I'm just going to type in 1001. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this 9 because it started with 9 on my modifiers. It's going to go ahead and add them. Same steps that you saw with item category. I do see I have some questions, so I'm going to stop for a second. If you mark an item as unavailable, it does not send a message, no. It just voids it. So that is something that it does not do. It does not send that notification to a customer if they had an item voided, unfortunately. You see my other QA. For tax boxes, so Jim, there is a great improvement that will be happening in Canopy 2.0 surrounding tax. That is some feedback that we've gotten about, checking all those tax boxes is super cumbersome. We've heard you guys, and we are addressing it moving into the next version of Canopy. So you should not have to check a million little boxes. And I will show you what Jim is talking about momentarily too. Okay, so I added in all of my modifiers. So my next step is going and attaching my modifier to my item. So to recap, we built our location and location management. We then went to global items. We added any existing items that we wanted to use to our menu. We built our new menu items. And then we added our image to our tacos. We added a description. We actually increased the price because, food cost. And then we put in the reporting category and the display category. We actually went ahead and created our own display category, actually. So the next step is attaching my modifiers that I just created to the item. So that's going to be where it says edit modifiers. Once I select edit modifiers, there's my 2 soft tacos. I'm going to check my box. I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to set my terms. And when I say set my terms, I mean, what am I prompting my customer? So if I go to edit modifier settings, am I making the customer make 2 choices? Am I making the customer make 1 choice? Is my choice optional? So maybe you have optional way to add fries to an order. So maybe I've got a cheeseburger and I have a way to say, okay, yeah, I want to add fries for $2. Then I would put my minimum as 0. In this case, we're making the customer make a selection. So what type of taco does my customer want? You obviously don't want to put a 0 because if they don't choose what type of taco, then you're going to wait for the customer to show up and that's going to slow you down. So you're making the customer make a choice. In this case, I don't want my customer to choose 1 and 1. I know, if you think about tacos and options, like it's endless. I only want them to choose 1 type of meat for my tacos. I'm not doing the whole 1 chicken, 1 beef, whatever. If I wanted to, I could do my minimums 2, or I would do my minimum as 1 still, but my maximum is 2 because there's 2 tacos. In this case, I'm just going to make them choose 1. That's it. They can't choose more than 1. I don't want to do it. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do save. So I'm making a make a taco. I'm going to hit update and save. So we added the item. And then to Jim's point with tax, there is a step in Canopy that is super cumbersome, and that is, and I'm going to be very honest with you guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's checking all the tax boxes. So whenever you add in an item for tax to be shown, I'm opening it in a new tab to make it easier. You do need to check the tax boxes. The original intent for this was solely because we had some partners in theme parks, and just even in the beginning, some people use tax inclusive for like water or certain items, and some people did add-on tax for others. So that's where this was born out of. Obviously, as we became a POS company and more so, with mobile ordering and everything, menus grew, items grew, and taxing changed. Most of you guys were tax inclusive. Some people did add-on tax, and then everyone shifted to add-on tax as well. So to tax on the items, you do have to check the tax box. Moving into Canopy 2.0, these dreaded tax boxes will be taken away. And like I said, I'm going to be completely blunt and honest with you about tax boxes because I also understand that it's a very time-consuming process, especially if you're doing masked menu ads. But this is going to be how you show the tax on the items. So I've checked my tax boxes and I'm going to hit update. I'm going to let it save. And I'm going to go into my website. Okay, so it's all saved. So now I want to check my work. So to check your work, you could either go to your VenueNext website. You could also go into your POS if you wanted to. So for those of you that are using POS, you can access your POS at any point just by putting in the words POS here. And it'll then will bring you to your point of sale. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and look at VenueNext. So I'm going to remove this and I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Okay, so I've scrolled down. There's my taco shop. All right, when I click on my taco shop, I see my items. There's my chicken tenders that I added from earlier. There's my hot dog. And then there's my tacos. I got my tacos from Google, so that's why they look so terrible. So when I click on them, now I have the option to choose my protein. If I try to add it to my cart without it, it's not going to let me. Notice what happens when I select my steak with my $2. I'm going to add it to my cart. And I select checkout. It's going to do 2 tacos, steak with a $2 upcharge, which brings it to $14.50. I have it auto defaulting to 15% gratuity, which is something that we do support. You can also have the customer change it to no tip. So now it's my subtotal, there's my tax, there's my tip, and this is the total that my customer will be charged. From here, I can put in all my information and then I can collect payment. The reason why payment is grayed out on this screen is because we obviously didn't configure payment when we built this out. If payment was configured, I would go ahead and have the ability to select order now. The screen that you see after you place an order is going to be our order card or an order confirmation screen of some sort. From there, you'll see order cards. That's an order card is essentially the message that a customer receives when an order is placed. So I'm on a different site. I've added an item to my cart. When I hit order now, oh, I have to pick up my pickup time. They have order throttling enabled on this one. So I'm hitting order now and it says received. From here, I could put my phone number in and I could get a text message when my order is ready. This would show if customers using Expedite. If you're not using Expedite or you're doing belly up service, you're going to see completed and not have the ability to put a phone number in. The messaging that you see here is called an order card. The order cards for a location can be updated on the location level in the service type section. So if I go to express pickup here and I go to my settings, I can update my order cards. And it's a little bit of a scroll here. So you can customize the messaging based on the revenue center. You can also customize the messaging to be consistent across the stadium or arena. There's documentation that will follow there too. But if you want to update the messaging that happens when you get this information, that is going to be the section that you do it, is order cards. You can also update your texting in the, I know it says push messages. It used to be for push messages. This is for texting. So the text message that you get when you place your order, that can be updated in push messages. You could do it by the location or you could do it for the venue. So it depends on, do you want individual location messaging to be specific or big picture, like everybody gets the same message? That is a question that I get asked a lot. So I wanted to highlight just a quick little high level bird's eye view of where that is and what that is. If you've got questions on order cards specifically, shoot us a note at help@VenueNext.com. I'll also put some order card help desk documentation in the I'm sorry, not recap email, in the follow-up email after this training as well. I know we have 1 minute left. I do see one question on the board, so I'm going to go ahead and open that. Oh, just kidding. It's the same answer. Does anybody have any questions before we round out the end of this training? If you do, go ahead and post it in Q&A or in the chat, either or. All right. A question: how do you get the modifier category to spot? Do you mean sort? I think it means, oh, how do you get to the modifier category spot? Okay, so the modifier category spot, let me quickly reshare my screen. You can get to it in global items. And if you select none, you will see modifiers. It's the third option down here. And you go to manage modifiers. And this is where all of your modifier categories are. Okay. All right. Yes, you can change the name of an item after it's created. So if you wanted to change the name of an item, if you went to global items here, the little pencil and paper, say I didn't want it to be called Hot Diggity Dog. I wanted it to be Nathan's all beef hot dog. Then I could put that there. And then when I hit save, there it is. I'm going to change it back because I think they like that name. Okay. All right, well, that concludes our Canopy training. Like I said, this webinar has been recorded. You will see some follow-up documentation from us. If for some reason you have other questions, the cool part about Canopy is that it brings you to our support desk. If you click on this little support icon, it's going to bring you to our knowledge base. The knowledge base has everything that you could possibly think of. And if there is something in here or something that's missing from here, you can always request an article at help@VenueNext.com. But when you click into our knowledge base, you will see webinars, you will see individual articles. Every article that we do is step by step. Let me give you a different article here. So you'll see step 1, step 2, and so forth. I highly recommend taking just a look at our knowledge base as well. This is also how you can get to our support portal. If I wasn't logged in, you would see submit a support request, and that's how you can submit a ticket to us. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. I do see one more question. Oh, nope, that's it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And if anybody has questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day.